Hello everyone. First off, I would like to thank everyone for watching my videos. I enjoy making them and hope you enjoy watching them. This is my quick review of Guild Wars 2. So let's get started with the standard stuff, just to get them out of the way. Graphics, it's up to par with pretty much any of the MMOs. The only thing I would say is that the particle effects, like from mages and stuff and AoE skills, they tend to overwhelm you when there's a large group of them together. It's kind of hard to keep track of whether it's a good AoE or a bad AoE. Yeah, it would be something that I hope maybe Guild Wars team cleans up a little bit. I also like the fact that the gear is color coded to match your scheme that you set up when during character creation. That's always nice, so that when you grab gear, everything looks the same and matches up. As for the controls, it's pretty basic for pretty much any MMO. One thing about the environment is that for some reason the gravity feels a little fake. I don't know why, but when you run and you jump, it doesn't feel like it's it just feels like it's a little bit too light. And while it's not really that big a part of the game, it just kind of just nags at you and bugs you a little bit. In terms of the the command button layout, which is at the bottom of the screen, I personally don't like that. Coming from a WoW background, I really like the fact that we can mod our own GUIs and make them custom to how we like them. So that's just one of the things where I really don't find it helpful, because I constantly have to look down to look at if my cooldowns are up. It's just a very annoying thing to have to do. In terms of sound, I think the music inside the cities is amazing. It's great. The sound outdoors is, it's pretty average, but it's definitely worth just spending time in the city just to listen to some of the music. So let's head on to some of the Guild War 2 specific things. So the personal story, I think overall it's pretty fun to play. The voice acting is excellent, and the only thing that I would criticize is that so far, just going through the first two arcs, I only did the video of the first arc. I don't think you really get very many decisions in your personal story, which kind of makes it, I don't know, it makes it less fun for me. I'd like to have a little bit more, decision making into my character's life. For world events or dynamic events, I think those are probably the most interesting thing in Guild Wars. It just makes the world feel alive. You can just stumble onto them, or you can be there at the beginning of them or at the end of them. If you leave, it'll continue on, and sometimes you'll stumble onto an event that's kind of midway through. So when you were watching my videos, I'm sure you saw the point where we were trying to help out the farmers and we lost the farm, so the farmers all had to retreat and the bandits had the farm, so we failed the first part of the event. So we had to go back in and try to get the bandits off the farm so that we can win back the second part of the event. So that's just a very interesting dynamic of the game. You really don't fail, or if you fail a dynamic event, it just continues on that chain. It doesn't reset and you just start over again. So that's definitely something that's very interesting. In terms of the combat system, since there is no tank and there's no healer class, it's definitely different from like the standard MMOs like WoW. So, the first time you play it and you die to a random mob, you kind of feel like a noob, but you come to realize that that's going to be pretty standard, and it's just going to happen because there is no tank to take all the damage, and there's no healers to make up for your mistakes. So it's definitely different. Since we didn't really have any access to dungeons, really can't say how that's going to be like, but without a tanking class and a healing class, it'll be interesting on how mobs and bosses interact with you when you do damage and take damage. So it's definitely one of the things that I look forward to in the beta, and hopefully they'll open up a dungeon for us soon. I did hear, reading from the forums, that there was one level 30 dungeon, but there's no way to easily get up to level 30, and it's a pretty hard grind. I think in the first closed beta I got up to level 21, and that was playing pretty solid for 3 days, so I'm not sure if I can actually grind to 30 within a 2-day span, and that's playing quite a number of hours. Another interesting thing is that reviving people gives you XP, but it's also very difficult sometimes to revive people because generally people die in like large mobs, and you're trying to find their bodies, but there's all these mob bodies that are covering it up. So it would be nice if there's a, if we can click on the icon when somebody's down rather than trying to find the body. It's just one of those annoyances when you're in combat, like in a big event, and you're trying to revive a person in between waves and you just can't find them. Yeah, because of all the stuff in the way. The last thing I'd like to cover is the if you watch the videos and you're kind of interested, I definitely recommend just go ahead and getting the pre-order. But I would probably just recommend the digital edition, because the only thing interesting in the deluxe edition is the summon misfire wolf elite. But the only thing is though is that you can only have one elite skill active at one time. So at level 30 you have one elite skill, and pretty much the Guild Wars team has said that most of these specific elite skills that are tied to a character class or a purchase, they're not going to be the most effective skills. They might look really nice, they give you a little bonus in terms of that you have it, but you might not actually use them in dungeons because they might not be the most effective skill. Now, if you're interested in, the artwork and the soundtrack, then, by all means go with the collector's edition. But I think for most people, it would just be better off getting the digital edition, getting the 3-day head start, since character name, I'm fairly certain for this beta that you can only have one character with that unique name. So if if somebody else already took that name, you won't be able to create that your own character with that name. So most people would just opt to buy early just for the 3-day head start, just to reserve their names. So that's something to think about. For the future beta events, I'm assuming that it's going to be a full character wipe, and if it is, I plan on playing through again in a new starter area, most likely the Norn. If they do not do a full character wipe, then I'll probably continue on with my Elementalist, so we will see. Thank you for watching, and if you have anything that you would like to see, or if you have any comments, please leave them below. Thank you.